We have a story about an indie dev who has a Kickstarter campaign that is making a game called The Store is Closed. It is a survival horror game that is set in a furniture store. And I haven't heard of this game until this week. The reason why we're talking about this today is because Ziggy, the studio that consists of one person developing the game, was given a letter from a Swedish firm that represents IKEA, the multi-million-dollar furniture store that's based in Sweden, saying that he has to cease and desist and change his game in order to not be as recognizable as it to being an IKEA. Now, this game, if you watch the trailer and everything, is clearly parody. It's made to look like an IKEA to a certain extent, but it's not an IKEA, which is fair grounds for parody at this point. But this firm that is being hired by IKEA is basically telling them, no, you have to change it. Zero, what did you think about the story when you heard about this one-man developer being told he has to change his game to appease a multi-million-dollar company?
It was a bit wild, mostly because of the fact that it was just kind of like, wow, really? Just, yeah, I get it. I get it. IKEA, you guys are a little bit overprotective that, just this game is a little bit on the nose, that the store is colored in blue with giant yellow letters on the side of it. It's got signage and furniture that's clearly styled very much in the IKEA design language, but is clearly not IKEA signage or furniture at all. I mean, hell, one of the pictures I saw from the Kickstarter was a sign that instead of the usual mention of, hey, buy some IKEA meatballs at the cafeteria, instead it's got like buy some flesh at the human cafeteria, and it's just like okay, yeah, clearly this is just a game that is using a parody IKEA as its backdrop, but it's just that it's just a parody.
Yeah,
I mean, could Ziggy have done a little bit more to maybe kind of change things up and not be so as pointedly on the nose? Yeah, sure, but again, just I think kind of like what we both agreed on. This is clearly going to be just if this suit goes to court in the U.S., then most likely U.S. courts are going to dismiss and say, guys, this is a parody. This is within the guy's rights to make a parody version of your store to be used in a video game.
And you're right. This would normally be a free speech thing, and if they were to take this to an American court, they would strike it down and say it's parody. Get over it, essentially. And honestly, what I've read about the game is basically that it's like a Five Nights at Freddy's essentially, but everything's a little more twisted. Like the meatballs are made of human flesh, and monsters are roaming around at night. Like, no one actually thinks that's happening in an IKEA. Like, that's ridiculous. Just you have to get over that. But here's the problem, okay? This is being made in England. And I don't think England has parody laws. I don't even think they have free speech. So, if that's the case and it's being made in England, then IKEA has every right to tell them to stop or they'll sue them. Because if I recall correctly, and I might be wrong, but their defamation rules are pretty stringent. And it usually, like the American justice system, it's the ones who have the most money ends up being the one who wins the lawsuit. And this is what this is, really. This is a company who is strong-arming somebody that they know cannot properly defend themselves from this, to force him to change his content, which is scummy, and I can't stand it. I can't stand when companies or people do this, where they sue people because, oh, you made fun of me and made me look bad. I'm like, dude, come on. you you're really afraid to look bad, then don't do what they're saying you're doing. Like, and this is easily the thing they could have done here in this situation too. They could have looked at it and go, oh wait, we don't sell meatballs made out of human flesh. We don't have monsters roaming around at night in our furniture store. Oh, this is nothing. Why are we worried about this? At most, I don't think this would have gotten any press. I think people would have looked at it and went, oh yeah, it's Five Nights at Freddy's in the furniture shop. Whatever. Next. Now you got more people interested in the game. So I don't understand what IKEA is doing here, because if they're saying it's protecting their brand, there was nothing to protect from this game. So I don't get it really.
Yeah, it's a bit strange for them to kind of just get real jumpy about it, but hey, just who knows what the logic is. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this pans out, especially considering that the developer's out in England as well too.
Yeah, I would be interested in knowing what the legal ramifications are with this. Like, if he really has no case, because like I said, I don't think England has free speech in their laws, because ours is based on a constitution that we have. So I don't think they have it there specifically, because I remember hearing reports of people being arrested for saying things that are offensive, essentially. So I don't think that he has those protections. So he may be forced to actually comply, which is terrible. Like, I think that's pretty bad that he's gotten no protections on doing something that's obviously parody. So, yeah, unfortunately for him, he may not have any recourse with this. Because when we talked about it, I didn't realize that this was this is from a developer from England. Because I thought if this was an American developer, one of these YouTube lawyers, or maybe just a lawyer in general, would look at this case and go, oh, I can get good press out of this. I'll do it pro bono and go from there. But if it's in England, I don't think they have that recourse. So that's pretty sad, because I would have wanted this guy to defend his right to make this game, especially if it doesn't really seem like he's criticizing IKEA in any way. So I don't know. I think overall this is scummy, and this is just an example of a big corporation just bullying people because they have a lot of money to do so. Thank you for listening to this podcast segment. The Capital Games podcast is done every week, and we post it on all your favorite podcast apps, as well as segments on YouTube. If you want to listen to another segment, you can listen to a new one right there on the screen. We also do a movie podcast called the Capital Games Movie Club. If you'd like, you can go ahead and click on that and see all the movies that we have reviewed from that point. Thank you for listening, and we hope to hear from you soon.